Okay ladies, now let's get information. Okay, this is going to be a really long video, so get your Beyoncé out now, please. Relics of past human activity are all around us. Some are deliberate constructions built to last, like the pyramids, Great Wall, Colosseum, but most archaeological remains are far more modest. Discarded refuse of daily activities of human existence, for example, food remains, broken pottery, stone tools, things like that. Just by living, you are contributing to the archaeological record. There you have it, you're a part of history now. Use it wisely. From the depths of the Arctic to the swampy peat bogs of Ireland and the dry caves of Peru, the very extreme environments of the world have led to the preservation of our organic materials. And by organic, I mean anything that normally would have decomposed if not held in the proper environment. Let's not forget about natural disasters helping with this as well. So within a site, one can find both artifacts, which are man-made portable objects. You can find structures, ecofacts, which are non-artifactual organic and environmental remains, which go hand in hand with more material evidence that we dig up. But how did it get there, and how is it preserved all this time? Formation processes are the events that affect how sites of human activity came to be buried and what happened to them afterwards. Each site was used, abused, and then later abandoned for various reasons such as fire, food scarcity, climate, pillaging, war, so on and so forth. And once abandoned, the site is subject to all sorts of weathering and further human, plant, and animal interaction. This all contributes to site formation processes. Now there are two types of formation processes lovingly deduced by the great Michael B. Schiffer: cultural formation processes, or C transforms, and natural formation processes, or N transforms. He actually wrote a book about this, and I highly recommend that you find a copy at your local library to delve further into the subject. Cultural transformations involve all human activity, whether intentional or not. This involves toolmaking, farming, building, abandoning, and so on. And transformations, or natural transformations, are natural events that kind of determine the burial and survival of the site. And nature, being what it is, can contribute in many ways. This ranges from the simplest accumulation of sand and soil, or land movement by rain and water. You've got animal interference. It can go all the way up to the ferocious onset of volcanic ash. Knowing if something was produced by human activity or not is extremely important to our research, so figuring out the difference between both cultural and natural transformations is key. You can't just look at a rock with scratches on it or a bone with some cut marks and decide that a human created them unless you know how to spot the differences. Experimental archaeology is what really helps with this, and it's actually a lot of fun too. So cultural transform possibilities are almost infinite. It's so easy for a human to affect an area and leave a lasting impression. There's also the factor that human interaction to a site can also happen after the site has been abandoned and covered up. So essentially, archaeology itself is a cultural transformation. Obviously, C transforms are not as cut and dry as before and after, as we humans like to reuse things, dig things up, and bury them again. But it's probably the easiest way to describe everything on this video. Again, do your own reading. I can't explain everything on here, and there's so much more information out there. Original use formation can be reflected through the acquisition, the manufacture, the use, and the disposal of a material, a site, a food source, tool. Of course, not everything goes through the entire cycle. I can get angry at the hand axe I'm trying to make and throw it away because I'm a perfectionist and no one can have a prettier rock than me. Duh. Another huge cultural transformation is burial. We bury our dead, our valuables, anything that we held dear to us in our lifetime. Sometimes we even bury things for a ritualistic sense as well. Maybe it's some weird Freudian return to the womb thing, I don't know. But it's like we do it to keep everything safe. Even if we mean to retrieve them at a later date, it doesn't always happen. And this is how archaeological hoards are formed and found. Burial can sometimes give us the best view of a certain point in time. There was a reason for this burial. These objects proved to be of significance to someone, something worth saving, something worth sacrificing. Final cultural transformation I'll talk about is human destruction. Whenever we reuse an area, part of the past archaeological record is tampered with or destroyed. It's unavoidable, really. Girls gotta live. We've also got deliberate destruction to take into consideration. Ancient rulers oftentimes tried to obliterate their enemies, destroying whatever was in their path. Now sometimes it is this very destruction actually that leads to the site's preservation. Haha, suckers! End transformations, on the other hand, are natural events that occur to the site. These are phenomena responsible for both the burial and the survival of the archaeological record. This can include anything from landslides, water runoff, animal activity, or just simply the gradual accumulation of dirt and dust from wind and rain. Unlike cultural transformations, natural ones are forever ongoing because the sun still rises and the world still turns even without you. You are not a special unique snowflake like your mama said. Sorry, adulting hurts. These transformations are all dependent on the location, climate, natural phenomena, age of the site, and degree of human interference and occupation. Natural transformations also heavily affect what is and isn't preserved. For example, inorganic materials are more likely to survive a myriad of different natural transformations due to their natural resilience. Stone tools, fired clay, higher quality metals, they've all got a good shot at surviving no matter what the world throws at them. Be like them, be strong. Organic materials, on the other hand, are picky and weak. Their survival hangs completely on the climate and the temperature. Most of the time, only extreme weather conditions and climates can preserve these types of materials, and I cover that in another video. These are also the artifacts and materials that require the most care when dealing with conservation and museum storage. They're your boyfriend on a cold. Everything's fine and dandy until they get sick, and then everything just falls apart and you're left wondering how the hell they survived before you. The degradation of these materials often results in modification of minerals and soils, which is a great marker for archaeologists to see that something was there even if it hasn't survived. Okay, I think I've bored you all enough today with different types of formation processes and how the archaeological sites are made. As always, a short write-up and extra resources is located on my website, and the link to that is in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my Beyoncé. Stay dirty, my friends.